Just think about it. You want to go to a mall. You want to do your weekly shopping or your monthly shopping. And this particular mall, you do not know anything about it. And then you decide, because you don't know about the mall, umeamua ukae tu nyumbani. Later on that evening, unasikia kwa news ya kwamba hiyo mall ilifaa uende, ililipuliwa. What will you do? Welcome back to the Crimeshield podcast, and I'm your host, Kingsley, and today's topic is countering terrorism. Nataka nilete hii topic in a way yenye is not, very tactical. I want to bring it in a way that probably it can help you because it ventures into our day-to-day lives. So what can I do as a person when I'm going to a mall and, there's an act of terrorism that has happened in that mall? So for us to be able to be harder targets and mitigate the risks of terrorism, especially in build-up areas like malls, this is what you need to have in the back of your mind. Number one, be informed of the area that you're going to visit. Which mall? Ni mall gani hii unaenda? Be informed. Just be informed which kind of mall you're going. Once you have information of that mall, number one, you'll be able to try out, to verify the route that you'll use, what kind of luggage you'll be carrying, and you'll be able to mitigate any risks around yourself because you've just heightened your situational awareness of that area. So number one, be informed. Number two, before you go to that particular mall, you need to travel light. Don't carry everything because you're going shopping anyway. So that means utakuwa unatoka na vitu from the mall. So just travel light. Don't carry a lot of unnecessary baggage because at the end of the day, it will distract you. Number three, at least have an emergency contact. Tell the people around you, at least a person you trust, where you're going. Because at the end of the day, it will be easier for them to track you where you are, and then they can be able to help you in case of any unfortunate event like terrorism. So, umeenda kwa mall sasa. Umeshafika kwa mall. What do you do when you're in the mall? Scan the area. That is the default setting. Take your time and just go around the area that you want to visit. It gives you more clarity of the area. Notice the exit doors or the exit, walkways. Notice where the fire extinguishers are. Say hi to the security people there. They can give you tips on what is going on in terms of the heightened security levels. Right now, terrorism, with what is happening in the world, is becoming a very huge thorn. And it's upon you to take time to understand the area. So we've talked about surveillance, which is very key. Kabla uende kwa hiyo mall, kwa supermarket nenye ulikuwa unaenda kununua vitu, take your time, go to other places and just walk, have a feel of that area. Once you have that feel of that area, at least you'll know, in case of anything, these are the steps I will take, this is the direction I'll take. You've already said hi or talked to the security people. They'll tell you the level of threat level in that premise. And at the end of the period when you're there, in case there's an unfortunate event like terrorism, you'll know where exactly to go. So don't just go to the mall without first understanding the area. And then you're going and you're traveling when you're carrying a lot of baggage. And at the same time, you just, you're not even aware of your surrounding. So those three tips will help you when you're in a mall setting. So I'm speaking about terrorism because it's very close to my heart. And it's very sad when, the same things happen and people make the same mistakes. Let me give you a story of a friend of mine, a former colleague of mine, enye alikuwa ameniambia. So I decided to ask him because he was privy to the Westgate attack. So mimi nikamuuliza, I won't mention his name. So what happened? Were you on duty? Ni nini litendeka hiyo siku? So he told me, by the Kingsley, hii siku mimi nilikuwa nimeenda tu kupeleka watoto kucheza. So sikuwa nataka hata, my day was easy. Taken my kids to play. Na, because gym yetu iko hapo, nikadecide acha niende nifanye a little bit of exercise as the kids play. So immediately alikuwa amefika pale kwa mall. Amemalizana na training yake, ana freshen up, akapatiana instructions ya kwamba watoto wapelekwe nyumbani. Akaamua tu afanye something extra. Akasikia gunshots. So wakati amesikiza gunshots, he's trained because he's my former colleague. He decided, okay, kwa sababu niko 10th floor, wacha niende 8th floor just to make sure ni nini inaendelea. But as the time continued to, spin up, it was very obvious that indeed there was an attack. But remember, huyu ni mtu ako trained, so tayari ashajua what to do. So what did he decide? So akaamua, because hapa juu ni mahali penye it's obvious na watakuwa able kuni notice in case kuna attacker, then I need to find a place where I can be able to hide. So he decided to walk. Alitumia stairs kama kutembea, akaangalia mahali penye kuna konga na generator, hizi vitu za air, the air funnels, vitu kama hizo. Akaamua ajaribu kupanda, na zilikuwa wapi? Kwa roof. So akajaribu kufungua kwa ceiling, but alikuwa a bit heavy, so hiyo ceiling ikafanya nini? Ikavunjika, akaanguka chini nayo. But luckily for him kulikuwa na chuma, so akahang kwa hiyo chuma, akaingia akajificha kwa some pipes zenye zilikuwa huko. Luckily for him, or unluckily, the terrorists were just coming into that place. Ilikuwa tu mbele ya toilet, so ameenda amejificha hapo hivyo. So the problem was, when he was going up, his shoe fell and his wallet and his phone. But now he couldn't go and get it. If it were you, what would you have done? Would you go back for your phone or save your life? Think about it. So this is what he did. He disregarded the whole phone. He disregarded his wallet. He decided to save his life. So akajificha huko kwa mapipe huko juu. And he just kept quiet. After a short while, akasikia, cocking of a gun. And then just spraying of bullets. So what he told me is that ni kama ali blackout. Like he could not remember exactly what happened. But after some time, give or take about an hour or so, the gunshots or the gun sounds were becoming even more vivid and more loud. Yeye kwa akili yake anafikiri ni kama ni 1 hour. You can imagine. Kumbe hata si 1 hour imepita. It's just a matter of minutes. So akajaribu kuangalia chini what was going on. He couldn't see because ako kwa ceiling. So this particular marauder terrorist with firearm had just gotten into the area where he was. So most of these ceilings usually have a nylon paper, because during construction that is what is usually used to kind of hold the cement and all that stuff. So when he was trying to turn and just change his position, he made some noise. And definitely you have a marauder terrorist just down there, what will you do? That terrorist decided to start spraying bullets on the roof, but he was lucky because there's no bullet that found him. That is just but one incident. So what about you who are out there and you are faced in a challenging situation like that? You're just going normally in the mall. You've taken instructions that I've given you, that you've already had information about the place. You've traveled light, and you're just on a normal day going for your shopping or just going to do whatever you want to do in a mall setting. What will you do when you're faced with a marauder terrorist with a firearm? So you're there and the terrorists have already arrived. Number one, needless to say, we security professionals, you say it so many times, but kwa ground vitu ni different. Stay calm. It's really hard to stay calm. But at the end of the day, what I insist is that you have to make sure that you do not panic. Because when you're panicking, then you get away your attention from exactly what is happening on the ground, and then you start focusing on your own imaginations, which can land you into a lot of problems. So the terrorists have come, the marauder terrorists with firearm have come. Na uko kwa hiyo mall ndani, you're calm. The next thing, you need to hide. Hiding from plain sight. That means if there's anything that you feel can, get you out of the sight of these marauder terrorists, then do that. There's actually 3 principles when you're talking about terrorism. You can either run, you can either hide, or fight. But the first thing you need to do is, after you're calm and you've assessed your situation, you need to understand where you're going to hide. So kama kuna pila mahali hapo, enda jificha. Kama kuna kitu inaweza kupea, ikublock from those terrorists, use that. And after you've done that, make sure you make your phone to go silent, because you want to hide. Si mmecheza hide and seek, so mnajua huwezi taka anything iseme penye huko. So make sure ya kwamba your phone is on silent, you've gotten a place to hide, and then while at that, try and alert authorities. We talked about emergency contacts. Tell them of your whereabouts and try and tell them what you're going through. Probably they are not even in the building, probably they're outside. So they'll be able to help you if you are able to communicate. You can use text, because if you talk, again, probably you can alert these marauder terrorists with firearms to come to where you are. So you've already taken cover by hiding, you've put your phone on silent, and you're now communicating to your emergency contacts. Go on social media platforms of these national organizations like police, the DCI, there's fichua kwa DCI. Communicate to them through Twitter, through all their social media handles. You'll have saved yourself and probably saved other people's lives because you've communicated to them. Tell them where you are. Try and explain, because you've already done your surveillance. You know your area. You've already understood where you are. Try and explain to them the magnitude of that situation. So if you can hear a gunfire, that means you're still alive. You've already taken cover. You've already talked to the emergency contacts. You've already tried to understand the situation where you're in, and you've explained. Then what next? The reason why I'm talking about cover is because cover has to lead you somewhere. So in any mall setting, there's usually, there are walls. So because you've already done your surveillance, take your cover commensurate to mahali penye unaenda, the exit route that you've identified. So once you've identified that this is the route I'm going to take, then you decide to take from cover to cover. So you're very keen, you're paying attention to what is going on in the environment, you're getting off from one cover, and then you're going to another cover. In most cases, you won't find yourself alone. So if in any case you want to communicate with the people around that area during a terror attack, let's say a marauder terrorist with firearm, communicate quietly. I know due to panic, saa zingine adrenaline rush inakuja, so you're panicking, you're screaming. But what that does is that it informs those marauder terrorists of where you are. So you take your time, calm yourself down. You're using this cover to take yourself to the safest exit out of that area. There are areas that are obvious. When you hide, you don't have options. Like, let's say you go and hide in the toilet. Everybody will know that there's something going in the toilet. So that is where the terrorists will go. So when you want to, take cover, give yourself a lot of options by just understanding what the area is like. So is this cover leading me to an exit door? Is this cover leading me to a place where I'll increase my options or reduce my options? That is the questions that you need to ask yourself when you're talking about taking cover. So you're moving from cover to cover, you're communicating quietly to the people around you, and if possible, you've already contacted the law enforcement, follow through and see what are they doing. Because at the end of the day, the terrorists, there are people who, they use asymmetric warfare. Asymmetric warfare is unplanned. So as long as they get a kill and their impact is felt, that is a win for them. So don't give them that by being an easy target. Avoid obvious places. So take cover, but this cover has to guide you to the nearest exit place. So you've identified the exit route. Exit route ni ile barabara inakupeleka to safety. Chenye tunataka kufanya hapa ni kujipea options. Tunataka tu kutafuta as many options as possible. So umetafuta option, umeona option yako ni hiyo toilet. Sisemi usijifiche kwa toilet. As long as uko mahali penye unaweza jificha, jifiche. So let's say umeingia kwa ofisi ya an office setting na mlango umejifungia ndani. Tafuta anything heavy that you can put on the door and put it there. If at all mnatembea kwa kikundi kubwa na mko kwa hiyo mall na marauder terrorists wako hapo ndani, just barricade yourself. Ongeza hizo vitu kwa mlango, itakusaidia. It will make you buy some time kabla any marauder terrorists akuje hapo. So another thing that you need to understand is that when you're moving from cover to another cover, you need to make sure that you stay low. Trajectory ni vile ya bunduki ni risasi, ni the flight yenye hiyo risasi ina travel. Mostly inakuanga height ya mtu, inakuanga shoulder height. So if you put yourself lower, it becomes harder for that bullet to reach you. So stay low all the time. Even when you're moving with your people around you, remind them quietly that stay low. So ushaji barricade, umejipea options. What are you doing when you're giving yourself these options? You're buying time, and you're also trying to move from cover to cover, while also following through what the law enforcement are doing. Because I've told you about fichua kwa DCI. So you need to communicate your whereabouts with your loved ones who are outside, not necessarily inside the premise. So ushaongelesha wapendwa wako nyumbani na umewaambia niko kwa hii room. Once umwambia kwa hiyo room na umeona that is the last option, is your final option, then ushaji barricade. Hao terrorists wanakuja, wameamua kupiga risasi hiyo mlango, wameingia ndani. Shida. But sasa don't lose hope, because I told you the options zenye ulikuwa nayo. Umejibuy options, umeenda umetake cover, move from cover to cover, looking for an exit strategy, giving yourself more options. You've already communicated. But terrorists finally wamefanya nini? Wamekupata penye huko. Remain calm. Remember, don't fight when it is not necessary, because safety is the first thing. When a terrorist comes, na siasha blow that area with bullets, spraying bullets, uko na options. Unaweza play dead. Jifanya tu umekufa. I know it sounds funny, but wewe jifanya umedead. That can save you some time. Because at the end of the day, the bullet travels faster than any person who can run. So buy yourself time by playing dead. Terrorist amekuja amekukona kabisa, amekuweka kwa kona kabisa. You have the option of playing dead. So once you play dead, it buys you time. And if at all you're fit enough, try and use your instincts. I don't know how to put it. That's why it's important to be physically fit. Then now you can resort to the last option of fight. But now, how do you fight if at all you do not have any training? That's why I said the three options was hide, run, fight. So we've exhausted the running. Tushakimbia by staying low. We've taken cover, we've communicated. But bado hao terrorists wamekuja. So anytime you see that there's a terrorist who is close to you with a weapon, there are many things online that you can be able to teach yourself on how to disarm somebody. But what can be easy for anybody who wants to, you're left with the last resort ya kufight, is if you're able to see the distance between you and that terrorist mwenye akona firearm is very close, at least arm's length, or something closer than an arm's length, then the best approach is just go for that muzzle. Muzzle ni ile hiyo chuma hapo mbele penye bullet inatoka, and direct it away. But don't do that and remain there to fight. Just do that, it disrupt, and then also go back to your options, run, hide, and then wait for the next time that you can fight again. Because they've already cornered you. So utafanya nini? So those are the options that you can have kama terrorists amekukona. And if many of you do not resort to fighting the adversary as your first option, because at the end of the day, you'll find that you don't know how many they are. You've already followed up with the law enforcement in their social media pages, washasema the actions that they are taking. So sometimes inaweza kuwa vigumu sana for law enforcement to discern between who is a terrorist and who is a common mwananchi. So ni wewe mwenyewe kutumia your own initiative or instincts to make yourself a harder target and try to avoid the last resort, which is fighting. But when it comes to fighting, give yourself options. You're not fighting to remain there. You're fighting to find, more options out there. So you've already scanned the area, in your back of your head, your situational awareness iko juu, you already understand hii njia inanipeleka wapi. and you've already met the last resort you're fighting, so ni upon you now to buy yourself more options. So it's like a cycle. If you'll forget everything I've said today, don't forget the 3 things. You have 3 options. In any case, kuna any terrorist activity going around you, you can either run, hide, or fight. But as I said, the last option you're fighting should be the last one. That means wamekukona kabisa, because a dead person can't fight. So don't put your life in harm's way. Stay woke, stay very vigilant, inform local authorities, law enforcement authorities of your whereabouts in case uko ndani ya any terrorist attack. Be vigilant. Ukiangalia umeenda kwa mall, mtu ameacha bag pale, take your distance. Inform security personnel wenye wako hapo. At the end of the day, you'll have saved your own life and probably umesave life ya watu wengine. So pale terrorists wamekuja, wewe una play dead. Uko kwa maombi ya Shadrach, Meshach na Abednego. It's good to pray. Mungu mbele. But at the end of the day, it has to be strategic. You're praying, but you need to take action. So you've decided to disarm this terrorist, and this terrorist has succumbed to your strength. Na labda uko na watu wengi. So umeenda umeshika muzzle, umemdestabilize na umetoka nje. Run. Umetoka mbio, umefind another cover. Wakati umefind your cover, unapata law enforcement washafanya nini? Wamefika. So once you meet law enforcement, in order to differentiate yourself from not being a terrorist, first thing you need to do is tell them that you're a civilian by putting your hands up and explaining to them where you're coming from. At the same time, confirm kama ni law enforcement. So that means hauambii tu watu, because I said communicate quietly. But now umefollow through kwa the social media handles za law enforcement, and I've said that wameanza kuokoa watu. So once umerealize ya kwamba huyu ni law enforcement, reach out to them. So let's say you've done that, now you're in the hands of law enforcement. They usually a triage. Triage ni ile wana verify level of injuries na watu emergency people, watu kama St. John's ama Red Cross wako pale. Wakati wanafanya hiyo triage, remain calm. Try and recollect what has happened. That is now after the attack. Mungu amekufariji, umetoka. So you need to reconnect with your emergency contacts. If at all ulikuwa umeongea na wazazi ama your loved ones ya kwamba ulikuwa pale ndani, it's also now up to you to tell them that you're now out of that area. But definitely ukitoka hapo you're still in shock, hata ujui ni nini inaenda kutendeka. Like you can't even do your things right because it is a traumatic event. While you're out there with law enforcement, try and recollect as much information as possible yenye unaweza wapea. Wakati umewapea hiyo information, inakusaidia pia wewe kuheal because you're talking it out. If you have the picture ya mtu kwa akili yako, describe it to them, to the law enforcement. Just cooperate with them because that information can safeguard future attacks. So I've talked about reconnecting with your loved ones. Waambie ya kwamba you're now out of harm's way. But at the same time, it is important for you to take personal initiative and seek psychological help. Enda kwa psychologist. And I'm sure governments as ingine way in case kuna attacks kama hizo, they offer such kind of help. So open up. That talking alone is therapeutic. Yes, it will not seal whatever has happened, but at least it will make you feel better and you'll become more confident with yourself. Because sometimes that kind of panic can make you not ever want to go to any mall. But now ease it out by talking to the medical practitioners, psychologists, and now be, even more aware of your surrounding. I believe at the end of it all, you'll be a harder target by just using the tips that I've given you. So in case there's a terrorist attack that involves a marauder terrorist with firearm, Yani gaidi ambaye amekuja na bunduki na ana spray bullets. Kama unaweza sahau kitu yoyote, usisahau hizo tatu. Uko na options. You can either run, hide or fight. Na nikapatiana disclaimer ya kwamba when you're fighting, it has to be the last resort. Umewekwa kwa kona kabisa. I've tried my level best to try and break it down for you. But at the end of the day, keep on knowing your surrounding. Understand the places you need to be going. If it is a mall, have information about it. Ask the security people there, what threat level are we in? Some will tell you. Wenye hawajui, pia unawaeleza because you've done your research. So remember, in case there's any terrorist activity, you have 3 options. Gen Zs out there. In case umejikuta uko kwa terrorist attack, usichukue simu ati hi guys, I'm now live in a terrorist attack. Don't do that. I've already told you, sahau kitu yoyote, but at the end of the day, run, hide and fight. Gen Zs, you're the future and the future is now. In case you are in that kind of space, do not pick up your phone and start recording. Because number one, it will require you to be standing or whichever location that you are, but you'll be drawing attention to yourself. And these terrorists will not care whether you're getting content or whether you're doing it for fun. Stay safe. Safety is key. So do not start telling us that you're live in a terrorist attack. So beware. Kama kuna kitu haifai usahau. Unaweza sahau hii story yote, but kitu inafaa ukumbuke, you have 3 options. In case kuna any terrorist attack, and especially marauder terrorists with firearms, you have 3 options. You can run, you can hide, and you can fight. And remember that fighting is the last resort. Don't put yourself into harm's way. A dead person can't fight. So at the end of the day, those 3 options ndio uko nazo. A big shout out to our fans. We thank you for continually supporting us. Do not forget to subscribe, like, and share on the Crimeshield YouTube page. Tell a friend to tell a friend. With these lessons of terrorism, what has been your experience? Umeongea na nani juu ya story ya terrorism? This is a conversation inafaa muongee pale kwa comment section. Tell us your experiences if you've witnessed firsthand any marauder terrorist with firearm experience. And tell us how you are able to get out of it. Inform us, because it is from, security begins with you and I. Another special thanks to Wojo. Wojo shared office space. Wojo offers private offices, collaborative workspaces, and meeting rooms suitable for your job. Wojo is located in Makio Hotel, Upper Hill area. Till next time, keep it Crimeshield.